If you are still placing straight screw channels on buckle surfaces or cusp tips, this video is probably for you. A lot of labs avoid angled screw channels because they're afraid of breaking burrs, or even worse, fracturing zirconia during milling, and sometimes even if the restoration survives the milling process, leftover material stays trapped inside the angled screw channel, forcing technicians to manually remove it afterward. In this video, I'll show you how I use DGSHAPE CAM software to mill AllOnX restorations with angled screw channels with no residual material left inside the channels after milling. The first step is to load the STL file into the nesting software. For AllOnX cases, I usually use the open edge adapter so I can take advantage of the 90-degree milling capability. Don't forget that restorations without screw seats should be loaded as a screw-retained bridge, while restorations with screw seats should be loaded as an anatomic abutment bridge. I'll also be making more videos soon covering both DGSHAPE CAM and MillBox in much more detail. As you can see, this AllOnX restoration has two angled screw channels, and cases like this usually cannot be milled properly using standard milling strategies. But after adding the 1.6mm T-cutter screw channel burr and 1.5mm long burr to your software strategy and assigning the burrs correctly, you can mill these types of cases much more predictably and with cleaner screw channels. I'll make a separate video showing the full setup process, including add new burrs and strategy to settings. Depending on your software access level, you might not be able to change these settings yourself, so in that case, your support team can usually help you unlock or update the strategy. After rotating the case into the proper milling position, the next step is to choose the appropriate puck size, scaling factor, and block name. The next step is adding stabilizers to the restoration to help prevent distortion or warping during the sintering process. As you can see, there are several different types of stabilizers available, and each one has its own purpose and behavior during sintering. After milling and sintering hundreds of AllOnX cases, I can confidently say that the first design has given me the most predictable and consistent results. You can adjust the base thickness, base height, and central area height based on your own preferences or case requirements. But these are the values I personally recommend based on my experience with AllOnX Zirconia restorations. I usually set the base thickness to 2.5mm and the central area height to 5mm. The overall stabilizer height depends on the height of the prosthesis should be adjusted accordingly for proper support during sintering. Next comes the support pins. I usually try to place the support pins as symmetrically as possible to help reduce distortion during the sintering process. For most AllOnX restorations, I typically use around 5 internal support pins, and for larger cases, I may increase that number to 7. When I'm using the open edge adapter, I usually place only 2 to 3 external support pins on each side to maintain stability, while still allowing proper milling access. Now it's time to rotate the restoration together with the stabilizer into the proper milling position. You should position the anterior buckle area toward the open edge side of the puck, so those critical aesthetic surfaces can be milled with better access and higher accuracy. Finally, I add 2 additional pins to keep the stabilizer connected to the puck during milling. After the milling process is complete, these pins, along with the external support pins, can be cut and removed before sintering. Now we can use the tools section to paint the specific areas we want to be milled, using the 90-degree milling strategy. We can also define undercut areas that may not be fully reachable with standard milling angles, allowing the software to machine those regions using additional milling directions and better tool access. I'll cover this feature in much more detail in a separate video because it can make a huge difference. Once you're happy with the nesting, support pins, stabilizer, and milling areas, it's time to start the calculation. But don't forget, the workflow doesn't end here. If you found this video helpful so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And if you share this video with other technicians or labs, it really helps support the channel and gives me more motivation to keep making detailed videos like this in the future. As you can see, in addition to the standard burrs normally used for simpler restorations, like crowns and bridges, the machine will also use the 1.5 mm long screw channel burr and the 1.6 mm T-cutter burr for this case. As you can see, all of the screw channels were milled completely clean, with no residual material remaining inside the access channels. Before starting the actual milling process, you should always review the simulation to see exactly how the final restoration will be milled. This is also a great way to understand the machining process in more detail, because the simulation shows you step by step which burrs are being used, where they are cutting, and what each tool is responsible for during the milling process. These simulation details are actually very informative, because they let you follow the entire milling process step by step. You can see the 2 mm burr being used for the initial rough milling and bulk material reduction, followed by the 1 mm burr for refining margins and secondary shaping. Then the 0.6 mm burr is used for finer anatomical details, while the 0.3 mm burr handles fissures and fine occlusal anatomy. For the angled screw channels, the machine uses the 1.5 mm long screw channel burr to clean and refine the screw access channels, followed by the 1.6 mm T-cutter, which approaches the channel from additional milling directions to precisely machine areas that are difficult to reach with standard toolpaths. This combination is what allows the screw channels to come out clean, with minimal residual material inside the access holes. In this close-up view, I wanted to show you exactly how the 1.6 mm T-cutter approaches the angled screw channel from a different milling direction to remove the remaining material left inside the access channel. If you have access to the strategy settings, you can also copy and apply these configurations to different materials and different types of restorations. On top of that, you can further customize the milling strategy by adding secondary milling passes with additional milling angles for difficult areas and undercuts. You can even add a 3mm burr for more aggressive rough milling, which helps reduce machining time and decreases the amount of work done by your 2mm and 1mm burrs during the later stages of the milling process. And that's it. The case is now fully ready for milling. I hope this video gave you a better understanding of how I approach angled screw channel milling for complex AllOnX restorations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.